everybody, and welcome to the 2021 PGA Championship and to PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac. We're here at Kiawah Island's Ocean Course, bringing you all the best insights, tips, and recommendations from our expert coaches inside the ropes at the Major Championship with the strongest field in men's golf to help you improve your golf game at home. And we've got the Wanamaker Trophy on set with us today. It stands at 28 inches high, 10.5 inches in diameter. It weighs 27 pounds. And Steve, this is not the original, is it?
This is not the original. Walter Hagen, the 1924, 25, 26, and 27 PGA champion, actually lost the original trophy back in 1925, supposedly. And the funny thing was, in 1926, he showed up to the award ceremony and said, "Where's the trophy?" And he said, "Well, I didn't feel like relinquishing it, so I left it at home."
Oh, but what really happened?
What really happened was he trusted a cab driver somewhere to deliver after maybe a night of fun out with the boys.
I would imagine.
And yeah, so the trophy didn't make it home. They found it 5 years later up in Detroit,
right?
Yeah.
In a basement of the company that made his golf clubs.
Unbelievable.
Hey, you never know what's going to happen with the Wanamaker Trophy. Hello, everybody, and welcome into our PGA Coaching Live set right here on the Players Practice Range as the players continue their final preparations for the 2021 PGA Championship here at Kiawah Island's Ocean Course. Our setting could not be more beautiful. And Steve, as our PGA coach and former player, what are these players going through on a Wednesday? What are their final preparations like?
Well, some of them may be playing 18 holes. I would say the majority of the players trying to conserve energy. They're going to be going and playing 9 holes. Some of them maybe just hitting some balls today, just kind of some light work, maybe getting a last little work with their physio, make sure their body and their mind are ready to go tomorrow.
Is it more of a feel thing when you wake up on a Wednesday, or is it sort of a superstition thing for most guys that's a routine before every tournament?
Routine is so crucial. I think that's what every PGA coach would advise these players and everybody watching at home. You have to go through your routine. Routine is something that really automates the process of especially these players, and they're trying to gear up for this major championship. But even for the weekend warrior at home, routines are very, very important, whatever they may be.
Yeah, routines are important, and coaches are important, Steve. Why should our folks at home invest in a PGA coach?
Well, it's an investment in your game. There are so many parts of the game to learn, but PGA coaches, they're so inspirational. They're so motivational. It's all about, I mean, these players out here have PGA coaches lining up and down the range morning, noon, and night. And so if they need them for their game, you need them at home as well.
All right, let's get a quick tip from you right off the top of the show.
All right. So this tip, now the wind is a little bit down for those who watched us yesterday, and I hope you did. We had quite a bit of wind into us. The wind is down today, so what that's going to help us do is going to help us launch it higher. So what we want to think about really in this driving tip is, let's think about Stewart Cink. Now, Stewart Cink, on the PGA Tour this year, 47 years of age. He has had a wonderful year this year, won at the RBC Heritage recently and the Safeway Open in the wraparound season on the PGA Tour. But he is 23rd in driving distance at 47 years of age, mainly because of a setup key. So what we want to make sure that we do, what he does, is you want to think about getting your right shoulder stacked over your right foot. I think the mistake that a lot of players make is that they get their right shoulder a little high, which opens their shoulders, and now that's going to cause a lot of problems with path, and then you're going to have to manipulate the club face. So the proper way to set up to this driver is really feel and take a look, and you can do this in a full-length mirror at home. Get the driver right over the right foot, just like Stewart Cink. If you can do that, then you're going to launch this one nice and high and take advantage, especially of those downwind opportunities to hit the driver. Get it up there, 120, 130, apex, and that's the one that you want to get and just send it down the fairway and bomb it.
Muscle behind that. So much of coaching is about fitness. And speaking of fitness, let's take a look at our guy Phil Mickelson in his shorts with his infamous calves warming up on the range. Steve, you actually mentioned something earlier about Phil Mickelson on Wednesdays.
Phil, so there's some times where he will go to an alternate golf course, actually, and just kind of get away and calm the mechanism, so to speak, right? You want to just kind of get a calming sense. But those things aren't very calm at all. That's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of good genes too.
Yeah, I'd say. A guy that's not young anymore, it's amazing.
And his brother, I'm sure his brother Tim, got to thank Pops for that one, I think. But that really helped. I mean, think about the legs, right? I mean, in the technical term, it's the base of the golf swing. It's the foundation. You got to have strong legs, and the calf muscles in there are certainly supporters of the rest of it.
Phil Mickelson clearly not skipping leg day. That's the worst, right? When they're big up top and you know what? No leg muscle.
And the kudos to the PGA of America for allowing all of these competitors to actually wear shorts. I know this has been a few years in the making now, and they do it on the PGA Tour regularly now, but we wouldn't be able to see those beauties if it wasn't for the great change in that rule.
Yeah, excited to see how Phil Mickelson fares at the 2021 PGA Championship here at Kiowa Island's Ocean Course.
He's hitting bombs. That's what he does. Sends it high, launches it high, hits some bombs.
And if you want to break 100 one day, or maybe you want to win the Wanamaker Trophy like Colin Morikawa did last year, we've got you covered for that.
We've got a pros pro joining us right now, the PGA coach, PGA Director of Golf, Trump Golf Links at Ferry Point, Mr. Brian Kroll. Welcome here to our PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac Set.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Melanie.
So
it's great
to have
be
you
here. By the way, if you could get a close-up of my calves, we're going to go from, no, I'm not going to do that. The ratings would plummet. To go from Phil to me would be embarrassing, but this is fantastic.
Well, it's awesome to have you here. You're a veteran broadcaster, host of On Course with Brian Kroll and Frank Darby, your co. Got to give a shout-out to Frank.
You got to get Darbs in here.
But you wear a lot of hats as a PGA professional. Talk about one of the hats you're wearing here this week.
Well, I'm very fortunate to be working for CBS, so I have this beautiful chance to do PGA Championship on the range right behind you guys. And at night, I'll be doing the Clubhouse Report, and we've got a lot of great folks on the set and a lot of great people on the crew, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
And Brian, what are your overall impressions of Kiowa and the course so far?
Oh man, I woke up this morning and just looked out at this incredible setting. Could you get a better venue for a major championship? This is absolutely gorgeous. So the golf course, of course, is going to be one of the stars this week, and it's fun to watch how these guys are managing themselves around the golf course. It's a beast.
As a PGA coach yourself, obviously you've inspired and motivated so many people along their PGA journey. Maybe give us a quick idea or story of, or somebody that has mentored you over the years.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people that have played a role. I think we all look back to the people that mean the most to us. And in terms of the PGA of America, I would say Jim O'Mara, director of golf at Sleepy Hollow, helped this young assistant pro to get where he is today. So I thank Jim O'Mara. And on the non-PGA side, it's all about mom and dad. We got to thank the parents and the folks that help us in the family. So.
Well, we are PGA Coaching Live presented by Cadillac, and I hear you have a drill or a tip that we want to put Steve through.
Such a great opportunity. I have to do it.
You've got yellow duct tape here. I'm a little frightened. I don't know if I should run or...
I want to thank Mike, the mic guy. I mean, when the mic guy's name is Mike, it's perfect. But he gave me some tape, and I'm going to have you take just a mid-iron,
Okay,
Steve.
perfect.
I'm not loosened up, so we're going to have the pro do this.
We saw Steve go through all that stretching before the show started, so we know he's loose.
So one of the most important things, Steve, as you know, is making sure you hit crisp iron shots at a golf course like this. Actually, at any golf course. And one of the keys to that is making sure there is proper shaft lean. And I think what a lot of people out there don't understand is it's not a scooping motion. You're not trying to lift the ball off the ground. It's getting those hands in front of the ball. So Mike's tape is going to help us.
All right, I'll get out of your way and let you do your thing.
You're going to hit a couple here. So I just have this on the ground here. So what we can do is put a ball right here. Because what we know...
You're going to let me stand on the mat or no?
Yes, right up there.
There we go. All right, there we go.
Oh, yeah, that's not right.
You're going to give me a tough lie right off the bat? I mean,
got to give you a little more room.
It is before 9. I need another cup of coffee. No.
Okay.
All right.
So...
what do you want me to do?
So let's set up to that ball.
Okay.
Now the important thing is that Steve's going to hit this ball with his hands ahead of it.
Okay.
And if that's the case, he's not going to rip this tape up off the ground. This is something you can do at home or at the range. If he takes a shot and rips that tape off the ground, then we know that he didn't have his hands in the right position at impact.
Okay.
Pretty simple way to get better at golf.
Let's see if I can do that. Oh,
oh,
wait, hold on. Wait, what did I do wrong?
That's exactly what I thought. That's
what
exactly what I thought.
What did I do wrong? Hold on. I didn't flat load my feet so I could snap load my power package on that.
Mike, more tape. Here, wait, hold on.
All right, do that one more time. Do that one more time.
You know, if there's any way to get slow-mo of what you just did, it is perfect.
Okay, all right, hold on. So what do I need to do again?
So what just happened there, Steve, is you released the club too early. You tried to lift the ball. We need to compress the ball. Compress the ball.
That's the word I needed.
Hands ahead of the ball at impact.
I'm an auditory type of learner. There we go.
All right, here we go. Let's do it right.
Compress.
Come on, make me proud.
Move and compress.
Yes.
Boom.
The tape is safe. The tape is safe.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. You're
Compress
good, man. You're
the ball,
good.
Steve.
Compress the ball.
Okay.
Brian, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it so
really
much.
Appreciate it.
Let's check in with our roving range team of Scott Walker and Joe Hallett. But first, let's find a little bit more out about Joe. Joe Hallett has established a reputation as a world-class PGA coach, guiding the path of some of the game's top players.
There it is.
Inbee Park was under Joe's watchful eye when she won her first professional event, the 2008 U.S. Women's Open, laying the foundation for a Hall of Fame career. Just a few years later, Joe began coaching a young up-and-coming LPGA talent from the University of Arkansas.
I think Joe's helped me the most just having a plan of how to get from being the 75th ranked player in the world to getting to #1 in the world, you know, because that was the goal.
With Joe's help, Stacey Lewis has won 2 majors and reached world #1 status, just one of several LPGA Tour players who have flourished under Joe's guidance.
I feel like I'm a completely different player since we started working together.
He's just really able to connect with everyone he comes across, and just his demeanor and his character, it just makes you want to listen.
Instead of getting your upper body to go this way, feel like your upper body is kind of going here and covering on top.
We're at a really big time in technology. The ability to take maybe some of the experience that Mark and I have.
Joe's impact on the game doesn't just come from coaching today's top players, but also his tireless commitment to molding tomorrow's coaches. In 2008, Joe's dedication resulted in his being honored with the National PGA of America Professional Development Award for his commendable contributions to the education of PGA coaches across the golf industry.
As far as the PGA of America is concerned, Joe's
an asset, a real strong asset, not only for what he knows, but what he's willing to do to help advance the careers of future PGA professionals.
He's extremely intelligent. I think that's really important in order to, to grow the game, and not just for tour players, but for teaching pros as well.
And good morning, everyone, here on the range for PGA Coaching Live with, of course, Joe Hallett. And Joe, we've seen a lot of players come and go very quickly this morning. Sometimes you go on the range to practice, but it seems as if a lot more today, it's just about warming up. What's the difference?
Actually, there is a little bit of difference between both of them, and we've seen kind of the faster pace between a few swings with the shorter clubs and then hitting a couple mid-irons and then maybe throwing a 3-wood or a driver in the ground and going out to play. Right now, they're just loosening up a little bit. A warm-up and a practice session, I want to say a warm-up is one where you really don't care. You do care, but you're just trying to find the ball and get a feel for the swing. A practice session, and that's a good tip for players of all levels, should actually be scripted out so that you go out there with a purpose and you understand that you're working on a portion of your game or your swing, and you want to see what the results and the improvement that you made. Don't confuse those two. Make a warm-up a warm-up. It's getting loose, it's getting ready to go, and go enjoy yourself and go play the game.
So let's talk in a little bit more detail as we have a new player here, Thomas Dietrich, who's just beginning his session. And with the TrackMan there trying to get some numbers, I'm assuming this is going to be a little bit more of a practice, a little bit more dedicated time.
This may be, unless he doesn't have the TrackMan turned on at this point, but yes, sometimes, and especially now on Wednesday, it's the night before the exam, so to speak. And, especially from the technical side, Scott, sometimes you're not really trying to, I don't want to say panic about the numbers. Players at this level, they want to know they're in a certain range. As we know, we have the big board over here and they can see so much of what's going on, but sometimes they like their own piece of equipment which is dialed into the spot they're at. They might be looking at the height of the shot right now. As we've talked about the weather so much here, can they control the apex? Can they hit a wedge high, and can they hit a wedge controlled? So yes, it can still be a little bit of a warm-up, but this is probably more of a practice session and just double checking those numbers so they go, okay, I'm where I want to be for tomorrow.
How important is it, as the wind is a little bit down here this morning, to be able to practice and play at about the same time as you would with your tee time on Thursday?
That is big. That is one of the biggest things you can do. And boy, if you think there's just preparation in the round right now with coming out to the range, the real preparation occurs probably the minute you leave the hotel. It's about, do you have time to stretch? Do you have time to go? We'll comment later on today. They're all coming over the bridge here because they stop at the putting green first. Do you have everything scripted out? Getting that whole practice session together and now coming out and hitting golf balls and getting ready to go. That's the same time frame you're going to use tomorrow and or Friday. So doing that in the morning or in the afternoon, it's just getting yourself more acclimated.
And what's interesting about this is Thomas Dietrich plays at number 10 tomorrow, 8/11, almost exactly 24 hours from right now. So
I'm sure it's coincidence, right? These guys are professionals.
I am sure it is not. But Joe, thank you. We will now wrap up from the range here as we follow the players here on PGA Coaching Live.
So every day we got to get our body to feel the same, right?
Every day you sleep differently, you wake up differently, and you never really know how your body is. So I've always got this red band. I'll kind of just set up like I'm hitting a golf shot and just see how much rotation I can get.
We don't want to cheat and just lift the arms. There has to be a rotation that's occurring.
You'll always see me do some leg kicks. So I'll start going forward and then I'll start going side. And that just kind of gets the body started. You just want to be ready by the first hole, not by the 15th.
Tell us a little bit about how you go through your bag before a round.
I just go 60, 55.
I think starting with wedges is also super important for tempo.
Just to slowly get the body warmed up. I mean, I never really start with full golf swings. You kind of have to ease your way into it. I always go my 8-iron. 8-iron is my favorite club. 5-iron.
I think a lot of it is getting your mind warmed up, rehearsing a shot that you're most likely going to have on the golf course.
Actually visualizing like that's an actual pin is kind of huge for the warm-up. 5-wood, 3-wood driver. go back with a few chip shots. I'll always end on 6 balls. It's just the way I do it.
Well, I think we're ready. Let's go.
Awesome.
All right.
Since I was a junior golfer, PGA professional Rick Sessinghouse taught me to be creative with my shots and how to execute them. His coaching guided me on my journey to become a major champion. At the PGA Championship, I look forward to competing against 20 PGA club professionals from across the country who promote the game, just like Rick. They might be underdogs, but this week, they're all players, just like me. Don't miss a team of 20 at the PGA Championship.
I competed in my first PGA Professional Championship this year, and I will be playing in my first PGA Championship this year. It's surreal right now. My boss qualified for 2 of the last 4 PGA Championships, and this kind of spurred me on to get my membership and get through the process so I could try and qualify. He was like, just play your own game, have fun and enjoy it, and that's what we tried to do. It's a giving back industry, right? It's paid forward. I feel like that's what we do down at Coronado. I'm Mark Geddes, and I'm a member of the PGA Team of 20.
Hey Colin, it's Rick. Just to remind you that, hey, keep that driver grip nice and loose. Grip pressure is so important here to play your best golf. So let's loosen your grip, and that way you're going to control that club face and let that power come through.
We're here at the 18th hole at the Ocean Course. What a great finishing hole. One thing we always practice is loosening our grip. In practice, how do you loosen your grip? You tense up a lot, but it's also about being mentally free. And just know that I can hit a great shot, hit a great cut shot down that fairway. It allows me to relax, take my deep breath, loosen my grip, and just let go. Confidence is everything. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your team, your equipment? Because if you don't have trust, you're never able to reach that one goal. Whether it's on the golf course or behind the wheel, I think if you believe in yourself, you're able to let go. Super Cruise? That's freaky. That's awesome, though. There it goes. Just a really smooth lane change, and it's actually exciting every time I do it. It's so much fun.
Most mornings, Joanna Coe is up before dawn. That drive and determination has paid off in a big way as Joanna was named the inaugural Women's PGA Professional Player of the Year in 2019. She's been a dominant player in the Middle Atlantic PGA section, teed it up in several PGA Professional Championships, competed for the United States in the Women's PGA Cup, and next month, she'll once again take on the best players in the world at the KPMG Women's PGA Championship.
Good effort. Get in there. Yeah, there we go.
Looks like a 3 all the way.
Joanna's accomplishments extend far beyond the course as a PGA coach.
Well, let's start warming up.
She is the PGA Director of Instruction at historic Baltimore Country Club.
She runs an outstanding junior program at Baltimore Country Club. She's a great teacher, one of the best in the section.
So let's just work on kind of getting that body a little bit more level.
She's been a great team player. The members love her. They really enjoy, being around her. I mean, anyone that's around her, you can feel the excitement. Every day that she comes to work, I've never seen her have a bad day.
She truly loves the game of golf, and it's contagious. She makes you want to be here because golf is such a part of who she is. If we didn't have her, BCC would be a different place.
One of the best qualities she has, amongst other great qualities, is the fact that she makes the student feel comfortable, and it's more than just golf.
At her core, there's a pilot light inside her that burns very brightly.
She lives and breathes golf, and she lives and breathes energy, and I wish that I had a lot more people like her.
Beautiful.
And I'm joined now by the 2019 Women's PGA Professional Player of the Year. She's a coach too. She does it all. She wears all the hats, Joanna Coe. And Joanna has a quick drill for us on warming up.
Yes, get this question a lot. How do I prepare for my golf round? Okay, so what I'd recommend at the driving range, you want to get a feel for the day, a feel for the turf conditions. You always want to brush the ground a few times. Just a nice, small, maybe quarter swing. Just do this a couple times for how you are that day. The second shot, one of my favorite drills in general, is the step back, step through drill, where you're bringing your left foot back, and you're really stepping through the golf shot on your left side, a nice weight transfer and turn, similar to how you would throw a golf ball. So it's really establishing a great kinematic sequence on the downswing, great for ball striking that day. And the third shot is just to ease your tension, help you with those first tee jitters, manage your grip pressure, nice and loose, feel your forearms like spaghetti. Nice relaxed swing right there. Okay, so I'd recommend those 3 shots as you warm up for your round.
All right. So yesterday when we talked to you about first tee jitters, you talked about how important it is to warm up so that you feel better. Why is it so important to warm up before your round? Why can't you just go out there and start?
Well, sometimes it's okay. I mean, you slam the trunk, you go, and people find success because their expectations are down here.
Mm-hmm.
But let's prepare like an athlete. Make sure you hit lots of shots, bunker shots. Make sure you get a feel for the speed of the greens that day. Just be fully prepared to execute for the day.
And do you always warm up with a wedge to start?
I do personally. Sometimes people start 8, 9, 7 iron. I wouldn't recommend just pulling driver right away. You have to warm up your body. That could cause some injuries because you're going to be swinging the fastest with your driver. So warm up with that nice speed and tempo.
And for the folks at home, when you're going through a warm up on the range, do you go through your whole bag of clubs, or when do you know enough's enough?
Right. Great players typically have a routine. They usually skip like every other club, so maybe it's pitching wedge and then 8 iron and then 6 iron and so on, and then they rotate throughout the week. Definitely not every club in your bag, or you're going to be there too long and exhaust yourself.
All right, Joanna Coe, always awesome to have you on. We'll have plenty more of you to come, and wherever your golf journey is headed, a PGA coach can help you get there. Find yours at pga.com/coach. And let's send it out to the range with Scott Walker and Joe Hallett. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, and we have the pleasure to see Ricky Fowler get ready as he's practicing here on the range here at Kiowa. And John Tillery, his coach, tell me about some of the philosophies that John espouses that will help Ricky throughout his week this week.
One thing that's really interesting is John is very involved in the biodynamics of the swing. Now that's a big word that kind of means how do you find the swing that fits your body type and your flexibility? And that's probably the biggest key for all golfers out there. While we see swings that we like on tour, it's not a matter of being taller in stature or shorter in stature. It's a matter of where your hands naturally rest, how your hips naturally bend, and potentially do you stand taller or shorter? What's the relationship of your forearm to your upper arm? These are things that John and a lot of professionals now are actually using to measure, so that when you get with your PGA coach, you can go out there and kind of almost get fitted for a suit, but you can get fitted for a swing. And that swing will work the best for your body type. So I know that's what they're working on right now.
Well, good deal. Let's get into some more details on that. And one question for you as we watch Ricky swing. You talked about biodynamics. Does that change over time? I know my body is not the same as it was 20 years ago.
My friend, I think it's the eyesight that goes first, okay? So it might be iodynamics at this point, but literally, yes. And the funniest part about looking at the players on tour, and and we talked to some of our group of 20, the PGA club professionals who are here, like Stuart Smith yesterday at 60 years old. The funniest part is the body may actually be working better now because they're doing far advanced exercises to maintain strength and flexibility. So does it change? Absolutely. Does the size of your forearm compared to your upper arm change? Probably not, but your motion, your mobility, and your strength, all those things change. And that's where a PGA coach who's really adept can help you keep advancing your game step by step.
Okay, one thing that was interesting is I was talking to Joe Scavron, his caddy, as they were trying to find a place on this range to warm up. Ricky loves being on the right side. He said, particularly with this wind. What are they thinking about there?
Well, there's an old adage that Ben Hogan never liked to practice in a very strong left to right wind because it would push the ball to the right. He couldn't stand to see a fade, and in order to hit it straight, he would have to almost hook the ball, which, as you know, when the wind went away, sure enough, what holed up? A hook showed up, right? But sometimes based on the way the wind is, and it's just a little quartering today, if you can get on that far right side, you're hitting directly into the wind, not fighting it at all. So a lot of times they like to cheat that end of the range just to make sure they're hitting as direct into the wind as they can.
One thing as Ricky's really trying to find that tee to green form that's made him one of the top players here, what are some of the things that you look at, maybe the check marks, as we look at him throughout the week that would say, hey, this is something where Ricky Fowler is really playing at the top of his game?
Boy, you always think of his great posture at his setup and his takeaway where the club kind of stays outside the hands slightly. And when you can see that club stay outside the hands and you see this just really cool, neat looking transition where the club goes up and all of a sudden it appears to just, golfers call it just drops in the slot automatically. When that club doesn't stay outside his hands, he has trouble making that happen, but it's looking good right now.
You know what, we have a second before we go. Can you show that to me? Because I think being in the slot, that's something that we hear about but not always see.
Absolutely, so that would look more or less on Ricky's case where the club comes out here and all of a sudden it gets up here and it just drops right in there. And if you look at that club, it's going to be pointing right at the golf ball. So for him, the club comes out here, it drops in that slot, and boy, that's like putting the double safety lock on it right there. It locks in, and as you know, he can go at it as hard as he wants to.
Always one of the most popular players, certainly one of the most talented, and we're happy to see him here on PGA Coaching Live.
How many? And we are joined now on our PGA Coaching Live set by Colin Morikawa's coach, Rick Sessinghouse. Rich, thanks so much. Rick, sorry, for coming on. How's your week been so far?
It's been wonderful. Yeah, I mean, the weather's been great. I'm staying nearby and seeing this beautiful golf course. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and I know you were here in April. Overall impressions of the course now in comparison to how it played in April?
Sure. April at Media Day, the course played softer. The greens a little slower around the greens. It was a little bit not as tight. We come out here on Monday and we go, oh, these greens are faster. It's tighter around the greens, and the fairways were a little firmer. And then in a practice round where you're playing all the way back in the tips, you're like, holy smokes, you know, I mean, it's a golf course for sure.
It's a totally different coast. Obviously, we were at San Francisco not too long ago, right? Not even a full year ago, out at TPC at Harding Park, and now flipping on the other coast here. Yeah, with all the grasses and all the changes, what sort of things are you kind of dialing in with Collins? And you're on the mental side too. I mean, you have the doctorate in sports psychology, and what sort of mental game ideas are you kind of passing along with Colin?
Well, I think part of preparation, so it's interesting when you go to TPC Harding Park and let's say on the weekend it was 58 degrees and foggy, and we bring out a TrackMan to see what his carry distances are. And then this week we go, sea level, beautiful, windy. So you have to prepare for how the ball is going to fly, right? And then there's different challenges, certainly. I mean, this is a little wider off the tee, but you can't get crazy. And around the greens, there's not as much rough as Harding Park, where we did a lot of chipping around the green and things like that. So every week's a new adventure.
One thing when I think of Colin Morikawa, I think of the ability to finish school. He went to the Haas Business School, graduated out there at Cal Berkeley he went through all 4 years. But I mean, look, Tiger Woods set a lot of precedents in the game. One of them was to leave school early, and we see a lot of players now leave school early. Colin didn't. Why didn't he do that?
Well, I think one was a goal of graduating, right? And I think that's a huge part of this is, he kind of made him and his family, it was very important for education. So that way of going out there and proving that he could do something, which not many people can do in 4 years, and play high-level golf, was wonderful. He was mature enough to do that. But when we looked at the last year or so of his college career of getting him ready for the PGA Tour. He wanted to play out here. And I think having that fourth year always helps get you more prepared, get you more ready.
Yeah, he was definitely mature at Harding Park. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, Steve mentioned you're specializing in the mental psychology of the game, and we saw so much mental strength from Colin down the stretch in last year's PGA Championship. How do you even go about coaching the mental side? Where do you start?
Well, I teach something called flow. So flow follows focus. So we start with focus. What are you paying attention to? So a lot of golfers, unfortunately, focus on what they don't want, which now creates anxiety, which creates tension, and then the golf swing goes haywire.
Okay.
But if we can focus on what we want, and we're calm, and we're committed, and we ask good questions, that focus at least is a good starting point. So Colin mentioned in the final round of last year's PGA that he was in a calmer, deeper focus than he's ever been before. So
Wow.
part of that's through routines, right? We teach good pre-shot routines to help somebody funnel in all the stuff up there and funnel into what they want to do in that moment. And being able to ask good questions like, how is this lie going to affect it? Where's the wind coming from? Keeps people more present moment than anxious of what this is worth. And if I make this, I win a couple bucks off my buddies and all that kind of stuff.
So for amateurs at home watching Colin, whether it's from the mental side of the game or the physical side, what's something they can take away from Colin's game?
Well, I think one, in his golf swing, he's always swinging within himself. So balance has always been a key element for us. And then, you know, it's the old adage, you swing at 80%, the ball goes 100%.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get hit the center of the face. But most people, and no knock on distance and all this stuff, but you got to still hit the middle of the face, right?
Exactly.
So with Colin, it's balance, it's control, less moving parts, and those type of things. And from a mental game, like I said, he plays to his strengths. He's not going to try to play shots that he's not comfortable with.
Yep.
And that's part of maturity. It's part of knowing, getting
Who
your
you are.
ego out of the way, too.
Sure.
Now, you have the final day of preparation here with Colin. What sort of things is he working on today to just get ready for tomorrow? Is he playing 18, 9, none at all? What is he doing?
Sure. So Monday we did 9 holes. 9. Yesterday we did 18 holes. Today we're going to do back 9. And the back 9, as we know, is quite challenging, especially when it's into the wind on those last 4 or 5 holes.
Sure.
And so it's more about just getting comfortable with those starting lines. And once we got that, he's done enough work around the greens to feel comfortable with that. But it'll be a fairly light day, and get that energy and get ready for tomorrow morning.
Rick, are there some coaches in the game that had a specific impact on you in the way that you go about coaching?
Interesting. Yeah, I've read a lot of books. I've gone to a lot of seminars. So
Sure.
I'm always picking up information. It's interesting. There's been wonderful coaches. I've sometimes kind of looked outside of golf for the coaching stuff.
Interesting.
You know, like a John Wooden or something like that is the character and how you go about communicating to your players, and those type of things has been very important. There's wonderful people who know more about the golf swing than I do technically, but how do you convey that message, I think, is the crucial part of what coaching's about, not just go on YouTube and have all the analytics of all those type of things.
So what does the rest of your day look like on a Wednesday with the final preparations with Colin as the tournament starts tomorrow?
Sure. I mean, we're going to go out here in about an hour and play that back 9, and then go back with this caddy to the house and really relax and have a nice dinner. So
Awesome.
it's very low-key the day before.
Well, we look forward to seeing more of you this week. Thank you so much,
Thank
Rick
you.
Sessinghaus, for
Thanks.
coming on. And let's now throw it out to our head pro here at Kiowa Island, Stephen Youngner.
Hi, I'm Stephen Youngner, PGA Head Golf Professional here at the Ocean Course. We're here at the 16th hole today in one of the very deepest bunkers or sandy areas that we have on the golf course. And there's a lot of unique features about the Ocean Course. It's all just part of the native environment that we have here. So it presents some challenges where sometimes you don't always have the greatest lie. The sand itself is not something you're used to. It's more of a sugar sand or a beach sand. So when we hit bunker shots here, because we do have that ability to take a practice swing and kind of test the sand, that's what we recommend everyone to do. So I'm going to do that here with this shot. Obviously this is a very challenging shot. We're very deep here. I'm going to take a quick practice swing and get sort of a feel for how hard or firm or soft the sand is. I'm going to step into the shot, and because this is such a deep shot, I'm going to try to open the face up as much as I can and swing through the shot. And I'm out, so that's the most important thing. I hope this coaching tip helps you next time you face a unique bunker shot like the ones here at Kiowa.
I'm PGA professional Michael Breed, standing on the 18th tee at the Ocean Course at Kiowa. And this is an intimidating tee shot. But you know what? We're downwind. And many times you get on tee shots that are downwind and you go, oh, yeah, okay. I know it's a little bit tight up there, but I'm going to hit it as hard as I can. I want to show you how you don't have to swing harder, but you can generate greater distance. Here's how you do it. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you carry with you an extra long tee. So I've got 2 tees. These are the same tees, except one is about a ½ an inch longer. That ½ an inch is going to help me get this ball up into the air. That's a big part of being able to execute this tee shot properly. First, tee that thing up. Make sure that you've got it up into the air. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we want to launch this ball up into the air. In order to launch it up into the air, I want to do 2 things. I want to change the width of my stance, so I'm going to get a little bit wider, and then I want to change my posture. The P here of PGA, remember this, posture, we're going to alter the shoulders. So when I get set into here, wider stance, and I make sure that my shoulders are going in an upward direction, what I'm doing is I'm actually moving my ball position forward. And so now what's going to happen is that this driver is now going to be coming into the ball in an upward direction, which will launch it higher. And when we get it up into the air, now that wind is going to move it, and we're going to really hit one. I don't know if I can get to 300, but you know what? I'm going to try. So here we go. 2 things. Width of stance is now a little bit wider. Shoulders are tilted up into the air like this. I've got the ball teed a little bit higher. Now, all I'm going to do is just make my normal swing, and we're going to hit this thing 330 yards, just like Rory McIlroy did back in 2012. And it's going down the fairway. The wind is moving it. Okay, it didn't go 300 yards. It only went 275. But you know what? It's a little bit farther than I normally hit it, and I'm really happy. I was able to get that ball up into the air. That thing apex is a little bit higher. Distance is waiting for you. All you have to do is make these alterations. Carry that tee that's a little bit longer. Make sure you widen up that stance, and then get your shoulders tilted this way. And when you tilt your shoulders into the sky, that ball's going up into the sky. That's how you can get a little bit more distance without swinging any harder.
Hey, welcome back. We've got some great flyovers here. We've got to get into the strategy of this golf course. I know we've talked a lot about the technical part of it. Rick Sessinghaus, great guest to get us into the mental game. And getting this course strategy and understanding how to navigate these 3 finishing holes here at the Kiawah Island Ocean Course, so crucial for the winners of this tournament. So let's take a look at this 16th hole right here, behemoth of a golf hole, 608-yard par 5, and with the trade winds that are going to be played this week, dead into the fan on all 3 of these holes. Keep this in mind. So 608 is going to play, could be upwards of 700 yards. So let's take a look as we scroll through down as this 16th hole serpentines through. The players are going to be hitting their tee shots right about in here. And then they're going to figure out, okay, probably not going to be able to get this one on the green in 2, especially into the breeze. So Pete Dye has really given this a great layup as far as you want to get it down in here, pinch it in between the bunker and the left rough. Now you've got to get this ball over. Simple, it should be a simple wedge shot into the green, and hopefully this is really going to be the best birdie opportunity coming in on the last few. But as we stroll through and we get up to the green, beautiful green complex right there. But this is going to be really a great birdie hole. 17. We all remember this hole from the Ryder Cup and the fate that Mark Calcavecchia, who's a fellow Florida Gator, sorry, Mark. But it's all about 223 yards over water into the wind. We saw Wyndham Clark on social media yesterday actually made a hole-in-one on this hole, miraculously enough. But we're going to see a lot of golf balls find these left bunkers over here. This is going to be a very popular area, right? We have these hard edges that Pete Dye and Alice Dye have built in. I mean, this is no good. That is Xville over there. Anything left, get this ball on land. We're going to see a lot of balls left. Bogey is going to be a very popular score here. And we're going to see some pretty good carnage on this hole, too. Dead into the wind. Again, 223 yards, and that's to a center hole location. So we'll move on to 18 now. As we stroll through in this 18th hole, this is going to be a crazy finish. This hole is upwards of 50 yards longer than it played back in 2012 when Rory McIlroy won by 8 shots. But this is the genius of Pete Dye right here. You have the green, and this is kind of from the tee. The green is way over here, but the players have to hit their tee shot up over in here. But the whole strategy, as we move up into the fairway complex, the whole strategy of this hole, we want to make sure that we get this ball down this right side of the fairway here. This is exactly where we want to make sure, because it's all about challenging these bunkers here. If we get it over here to the left side, now we've got to battle these cavernous bunkers that flank the left side in front of this green. We don't want any part of that. We want to be right here. This is our spot that we can attack that flag, and the green opens up a lot from there. Now we stroll up to the green here, and this green surface is nothing but difficult. We've got a lot of fall-offs on the right side here that get down to a nice low area. That's going to be a very popular spot. Again, 505 yards into the wind. This is essentially going to play 540 yards. I mean, players are going to hit a lot of long irons, a lot of hybrids into the green, and this is going to be just a diabolical finish here. No pun intended, right? Diabolical finish. But we're going to head out to the range right now. This is some great stuff, but we're going to head out to the range and talk to Joe and Scott.
Steve, thank you. And one of the players that hopes to challenge and contend in that final stretch is behind us, Justin Rose. And Joe, he was tied for 3rd here in Kiowa in 2012. He certainly has performed well in this spot, and he's been consistent throughout the years. What makes him so consistent?
Well, that is truly one of the benchmarks of this game. It is your consistency, but one of the things that's unique is he really takes his team very seriously, and one of them includes his coach, who always has his eye on him. Now, this is the interesting part. I think so many of us think, oh, I'm going to go see a coach or I'm going to see a professional when I'm having problems. Justin likes to have that coach there to monitor. It isn't about fixing anything. It's about saying, is it staying the same? Am I doing the same thing again? Now the coach's eye has changed a little bit to go, you're kind of falling outside your lines a little bit. Let's get back to where you were. So having a coach means being consistent. Why not go visit your coach when you're playing well and see what happens?
And that coach, Sean Foley, has certainly been one of the consistent members of his team for many years, back together again after a short break. Let's get into some more details about his swing, and we'll step out and take a good look at what he and Sean are working on. And one of the things that I've always been impressed with Justin Rose is he is meticulous. I think that often helps with that consistency.
Yeah, you don't see what so many of our players, and even we do as players sometimes on the range. You don't hit a good one, and then you immediately pull another ball over, and you're going to hit another one and hope that it's better. There is a purpose to every shot. They take the time between the shots. Justin now wanting to feel like a certain move is in his swing, checking some of the points. So avoiding that raking the ball back and forth is a big, big thing. If you expect to get better and be consistent, don't just keep hitting and try and hope it gets better. If you need to take your time for a second and step away, do it. You'll be surprised what it does for your game.
One of the things that's interesting, and I know that a lot of instructors, and maybe you as well, like to have, is that little bit of a waggle to start the swing. You can see that consistently. What does that do for him?
Well, it's kind of funny. If we watch players that are struggling, their waggle has become an exercise. They just do it a couple of times, hope they can burn a calorie or two. The waggle is really trying to train them. What is the path that I want that club to go back on? Do I want it to go back lower, outside, inside? And once I get that path, where's the club face? Is that club face square? You know, a great teaching legend in the PGA was Bill Strasbaugh, and he used to have a saying that said the swing is 98% setup, 2% takeaway, and the rest is up to God. And there's a lot of truth to that.
What is the hallmark of what people will see if Justin Rose is going to contend this week?
Just a man who can keep his swing, his composure, and use his intelligence around the golf course no matter what the conditions might throw at him. He's going to be the same person whether it's sunny, windy, rainy, whether he's into the wind or downwind or he's crosswind. He's the same guy, and that's what you see on the practice range. He trains himself to be the same guy on every shot.
You know, last thing, Steve was setting us up talking about that closing stretch here and how difficult it can be. How do you match your swing thoughts with your strategy on Wednesday, your last day of prep?
Really, and when they come out this afternoon and maybe finish up some of their practice, I guarantee you're going to see them hitting some of the clubs that they're going to need on those last 4 or 5 holes as they finish the round. And you know, when you're out there on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you happen to have a cape in your bag and you can become super you, that's not a bad thing to do.
Well, Justin Rose getting some work in, a major champion, but looking to add a Wanamaker trophy to his case.
And a look at the ocean course here at Kiowa Island, looking absolutely stunning ahead of this major championship. 10 holes along the Atlantic Ocean, just a beautiful setting for the 2021 PGA Championship. And it's time now for our National Car Rental Twitter poll. And the question was, what part of your game needs the most work? And I'm joined now by Rich Jones. And Rich, I'm kind of shocked by this. The majority says driving.
Yeah, you see, I would have thought more or less it would be the short game.
Short game, yeah. That's where I struggle the most too. So, for our folks at home who struggle with driving, let's get a driving tip from you.
Yeah, so one of the things that we really noticed with the players out here trying to flight the ball with the wind conditions. So you at home, I really want you to think about this tip, and this really works well. You know, go ahead and put a tee in the ground and practice. You know, get a tee in the ground and practice using your driver by clipping the tee. And you do that a couple of times just to kind of get the feel. And if you do that enough times, just really back and forth and clipping the tee, do 3 or 4 swings and practice clipping that tee. Once you get comfortable, go ahead and put the tee on the ground and maybe work on your ball position a little bit. Maybe play towards the back to flight the ball a little bit lower. Play the ball position forward if you're downwind. But go ahead and practice clipping the tee. When you get comfortable, go ahead and swing and hit that golf ball. Practice that and let me know how it works.
All right, good stuff, Rich. Let's check in now with Colin Morikawa.
20 seconds of activation can help your first tee shot because it wakes everything up. I'm actually get a crack in my sternum, which actually feels really good. Freaks JJ out a little bit.
I think you've got the best tempo out there. Setting the tone of smooth tempo starts with your wedges. We can just take our laser out, right, and see how far these balls are flying to see if that is matching your feel. How'd that feel?
Pretty good, around 60.
60 it is. So we know the importance of being square here. Sometimes, Colin, you open up here, which leads to the club going out. So let's make sure that the shoulder stays square. Specifically for Kiowa, it's about flighting irons. It's about being able to control that.
Club face and path and everything have to be right, but especially if I can't feel my body doing it, then I know I'm gonna have a problem. It's like gut feeling.
I'm gonna surprise you here. At the top of the swing, I'm gonna tell you hit, draw, or fade. Draw.
There's a lot of great ball strikers that swing up. You look at Rory, he swings a lot up.
Yes.
And then you've got like Sergio, who swings almost down.
Your swing is very, what we would call centered and leveled.
Just because you have a driver in hand, just because it's teed up, does not mean you have to swing 6 up on it. If you need to go higher, get more loft on your driver. Yeah. You know, it's as simple as that.
I'm Owen Fisher, and don't let this microphone and this suit fool you. I'm also a PGA Junior League golfer.
Physical distancing is naturally built into golf, and PGA Junior League has its own medically approved guidelines that our expert coaches follow, so kids like me can get back to golf. So Steph, how should we celebrate with our teammates?
Try thumbs ups and fist pumps, not handshakes or fist bumps.
Sign up today at PGAJuniorLeague.com.
I played probably 12 years on the PGA Tour and had a couple of good finishes. I played with Tiger Woods and the best PGA of America players in the country, and the similarities are really, there's quite a few of them, and there's not very many differences. I think the biggest difference is probably experience and confidence. You give those guys a little more time to be able to work on their games, and they can get out there. I'm Omar Uresti, and I'm a member of the PGA Team of 20.
Hey Rick, what's up?
Hey Colin, just a reminder on the ocean course today. The wind out there can be really tough. You need to be able to control the curve of your shots out there. Remember what we've worked on.
We're here at the 17th hole, ocean course, long par 3. You know, we're right up against the ocean, so you're going to get a lot of wind. We talked about it with Rick, my coach. You know, getting ahead of the curve. Sometimes you're going to have to hit a draw, but I love fading the ball. So, you know, with me, I'm going to aim my club face at the target where I want to finish the ball, but I'm going to have my body, my feet, everything else lined to the left. I think staying ahead of the curve is reaching new boundaries and trying to test new limits. If you get complacent and you start realizing that things are all right, that next person behind you is going to take 2 steps in front of you. The first thing when I sat down in this Escalade that caught my attention was this gigantic screen. I love it. It puts a smile on my face every time I drive now.
Well, have you ever wondered how they get a course like this ready for a major championship? We were lucky enough to get a sneak peek a few months ago.
Well, the ocean course, you deal a lot more with the environment. You have the sand dunes that are always changing. As Pete used to say, this golf course walks. You'll have the wind's going to move these dunes around, and we're always kind of, you know, adapting to what Mother Nature presents us. The change from August to May, I think May is going to be a much more comfortable event for patrons and the golfers. The weather should be a little bit cooler. Hopefully we've got a lot of wind, and then, you know, just not having to worry about the storms and things like that. I'll probably jinx myself by saying that, and it'll rain all week, but those are the kind of things that we look forward to in May. And plus we'll be playing on an overseeded golf course. Right now we're just building the foundation. Getting the ryegrass up, starting to do some detail work in waste areas and changing those a little bit, working fairway lines, getting those where Kerry wants to have the fairway lines and stuff for the PGA Championship. So right now, agronomically, we're just at the beginning stages of setting the stage for the championship. Once the tournament gets here, it's relatively easy. It's all of the work up to the tournament. You got long hours. But once the tournament's here, you know, our schedule, we'll start at probably 4:30 a.m. and we're usually off the golf course by 6:30, and then we'll come back usually right around 7 p.m. and we're off the golf course by 9 p.m. and we'll be fortunate in the fact that we get to utilize 5 other golf courses, staff. But as we get into March, April, things are going to ramp up exponentially each month. I mean, it's by the time May rolls around, we'll probably be looking forward to the end of May, to be honest with you, because we'll be pretty tired. But it's exciting. I mean, it's a true honor to be able to represent Kiowa and having the ocean course back out, you know, on the world stage. It's truly exciting. It's well worth the effort, and we enjoy the process.
That'll do it for this hour of PGA Coaching Live, presented by Cadillac.